Hello everyone, this is Anmol here, and in this video we'll be talking about the law of demand. So what is law of demand basically means? So we can say that law of demand is a functional relationship between price and the quantity demanded. Okay, means it's only tells about the how price affects the demand. Okay, so if we go through the definition here, the definition says that the law of demand states that other thing remaining constant, the quantity demanded of a commodity increases when its price falls and decreases when its price rises. Here we can say that the law of demand is only focusing upon the product commodity price. Means if the price of the commodity falls or rises, the demand of the commodity will depend upon its price only here. Okay, so we can say there is an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded of a commodity. For an example, we can say that suppose the price of the chocolate is presently is of 20 rupees, so the consumer is buying 10 units or 20 units of chocolate. In future, it might happen that the price of the chocolate rises to 30, 40 or 50. In that case, what will happen that the consumer will start demanding the less, like he would be demanding 10 chocolates only if the price rises to 40 or 50. So like this only, the price is affecting the demand. Okay, moving ahead, if we talk about the assumptions, what are the assumptions of the law of demand? So law of demand assumes that other thing remaining unchanged, means as we have also seen in this definition, that demand state that other thing remaining constant, means the only focus here is on the price and the quantity demanded. We are not considering any other factor. We're not taking any other factor of demand like taste preferences, style trends, or economic activity, or like government policies. We are keeping everything constant. We are only focusing upon the price of the commodity and the quantity demanded. Okay, so there are few assumptions like there should be no change in the income of the consumer, there should be no change in taste and preferences of the consumer. Like here we are keeping the consumer income is like natural, there's no change in the taste and preferences. Price related commodities should remain unchanged, the commodity should be a normal commodity. Here we are not talking about any uh, expensive commodities or any luxurious commodity, the normal commodity which the consumer consumes, all the normal product which fulfill the day to day needs of the consumer. Size of the population should not change. If we are talking about law of demand of a particular area, so we are not taking the demographic change in it. We are not adding up the population or like demography. Okay, the distribution of income should not change. There is no expectation in the change in the price in future. So here we are also not assuming that there will be a change in price in the future of a commodity. Okay, moving ahead, we can also understand this by a diagram, the demand curve. Okay, so what the demand curve says, like I have taken a demand curve where I've shown on the x y axis the price of the quantities of apple, and on x axis I've taken quantities of apple. Now here we can see that why the demand curve is sloping downward. What are the like how why it is sloping down? So we can see that when the price of the apple was 50, so how many quantities of apple were demanding? Five. Like 5 units were demanded by a consumer. As we can say, if the price rises to 60, then the consumer is demanding 4 units of apple. As the price rises to 73, then 80 to 2 quantity, 90 to 1, like this only. In quantity of apple we can take as at 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg, 4 kg or 5 kg. So accordingly we can take the quantities. Okay, so here we can see the demand curve is sloping downward because there is an inverse relationship between demand and price of the commodity. That's why we say that the demand curve of the commodity is downward sloping. Okay, because the it says that the curve showing different quantities demanded at various alternative prices during a given period. So that's why this is the reason that demand curve is sloping downward. Okay. Now, what are the reasons of downward sloping of demand curve? What can be the reasons due to which the demand curve is sloping down? So there are like five reasons I have taken. First one is like law of diminishing marginal utility, where in this we can say that the law of diminishing marginal utility states that with the increase in the additional unit of a commodity of a unit consumed, every additional unit of the commodity gives lesser satisfaction to the consumer. Simply we can say that if a consumer is consuming a product, and after that whatever the satisfaction he has gained, and if he consumes the same product on the same time, like one unit he has consumed and now he's consuming a second unit and a third unit, so whatever the second unit he has consumed will give the less satisfaction than the first unit consumed. Okay, like suppose like you are eating a chocolate, so if you have eaten first chocolate, so you have get the full satisfaction. Now you are eating a second chocolate, so second chocolate will give you a lesser satisfaction than the previous one. Now you're eating third chocolate, so third chocolate will give more less satisfaction with the second chocolate. So this way we can say that there's a law of diminish, like your utility is diminishing. Okay, the commodity is giving you lesser satisfaction than the previous one. Okay, so this also results in the downward slope of demand curve. Okay, income effect we can say that there's a change in demand on account of change in real income resulting from change in the price of a commodity known as income effect, where we can say that when the price of a commodity falls, the consumer can buy larger amount of commodity, and it also because it depends upon the purchasing power of the like of the consumer, that leads to the change in the demand. Like if the it depends upon how the income is increasing. If the income of the consumer is increasing, the consumer will buy the product accordingly to his income. Okay, or we can say that he or she can buy the same amount of commodity as before, as the same time he would be able to save some money also. Okay, so in other words, you can also state that a fall in price of a commodity results in an increase in the real income. Okay, then if we talk about substitution effect, so what is a substitution effect? That effect is that a change in relative prices of a substitute goods has on the quantity demanded. Like when the price of a commodity falls and the price of the substitute remains unchanged, it becomes relatively cheaper in comparison to its substitute. Best example we can say that tea and coffee, they both are substitute of each other. If the price of the tea rises, the consumer will shift his demand towards coffee. So it is called a substitution effect. Okay, there are other reasons like increase in the number of consumers. A fall in price of a commodity leads to increase in quantity demanded by existing customers. So this can happen due to substitution or income effect. So increase in number of the consumer also can result in the downward movement of the demand curve. Then there is a several uses of commodity, like people are demanding various amounts of quantity, like of commodity. So it also affects that certain commodities are less demanded or certain commodities are more demanded. So this is also one of the reasons of downward slope of demand curve. Okay, and here I've written like mention the few terms of law of diminishing margin, definition, income effect, and substitution effect. So I hope this would be clear to you, the law of demand, the reasons of downward sloping of demand curve, and the assumptions. Okay, so if you like the video, please do like, share, and subscribe the video. Thank you.